Hi guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Welsh Beast Show. Thank you so much for your views for episode 1. It's gone down really well. I appreciate it, and I do appreciate the comments. I know I don't reply to them all, but I read them all, and I really do appreciate the support. Thanks a lot, and keep watching. The guest today on episode 2 is Wrexham's fittest podcaster. He runs 6 miles every day before he gets out of bed. How he does it, we're going to find out. He's the host and founder and star of Racecourse Ramble. It's Matt Jones. Matt, thank you.
Well, listen, I'm not sure. I think you've oversold me there, if I'm honest.
Never in a million years.
I am delighted to be. I'm delighted to be Tim Sloppy Seconds.
Yeah, well, you know, there's no harm in that.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. Hey, listen, I've been outside Brannigan's many a time waiting for some sloppy seconds.
Yes. Don't turn your nose down and salt sloppy seconds. That'll be your last chance. You might never come again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mentioned you're running. Have you been running today?
No, I went. We got back off holiday a week ago, and I've tried to pick it up. I've been in the gym. I went to the gym on Friday night, and we did some. So yeah, building up towards April, because I've got another marathon in April. So which I'm running. Hopefully, if I send you the link, hopefully you can put a donation link in your YouTube comments for me if you would. So I'm running for Wrexham Food Bank this time. Doing that marathon for them. So I was up to about £500 of donations last time I looked, which is awesome, which is more than I thought I'd get. But I'll have to move the bar now because I've got till April to make some money, haven't I? So yeah, I'll send you a link. So all me running is build up towards doing that my second marathon in Manchester.
So that's your second one in Manchester. How many have you done? How many?
No, that'll be that. Yeah, I'd never done one before, and then I did Manchester last year. I did it really because my other half, Kath, needed a training partner a little bit. So I sort of just used to do short runs with her because she was going to do about her 3rd or 4th marathon. And then got the bug really, and I just thought, I might as well see it through now. So I ran that, and yeah, I believe it or not, I actually enjoyed it. But the training is not fun. You know, running around the roads of Markwheel and Wrexham on a Friday night at 11 o'clock when you've got to do 15 miles it's pretty grueling.
Yeah, I know. That's why I prefer the treadmill because you don't go anywhere, do you? You can do 40
it's warm.
miles a day where you are.
It's warm. You can just go to the toilet. You can have, stop and have a drink, and but yeah, it's not as fun. Definitely not.
Yeah, I just been to the gym today because I was sessioning with a personal trainer on a Sunday.
Ooh.
Pure gym, crammed full with fit guys.
That's right. I go to Pure Gym. I might bump into you there then. Well, you might see me on the treadmill.
I go there quite often. To be fair, it's They've just upgraded it, haven't they?
Yeah, well, I've only been I signed up just before I went on holiday about a week ago. Because I thought if the weather's crap and it's flooded, I want to still be able to train. So I've only been to that gym twice now. So it's been the same since. So what it was like before. I don't know. But it's all right. Plenty of machines and stuff. It seems all right so far.
Yeah, they know their place, don't they? It's cheap. It's effective. It's not over the top. It's, like I said, no frills, basic. It is what you need.
Perfect. Yeah, it is for me. Just filling in my road running when the weather's bad is all I was thinking. So
yeah, it used to get really busy. It still does, but there's more room, there's more equipment. They've got duplicate machines. They've added equipment. Yeah, it used to be really busy at one stage, difficult to enjoy, but now it's much better. Right. Well worth it. Okay. So Wrexham, they win again yesterday at Burton. Yeah. I believe you went. What's your opinions on the performance?
So I think I will take that. Yes, I don't know if you went yesterday. We didn't talk about that before.
No, I didn't make it.
So obviously we know what the weather was like. It was a horrible day. It was blowing a gale. It was blustery, swirling, raining. It was miserable. It was like the wind chill in that stadium was like -8 or something. It was horrible. So I will take, on conditions like that, I will take any win, if I'm honest. If it was a perfect summer's day and it was lovely and we'd have had a performance where we've had to grind out a 1-0 win against bottom of the table, you might go, oh, I would have liked a bit more. But I'll take that yesterday, any win yesterday, because it was honestly, it was horrible. And obviously there was an assist on that goal from Elliot Lee. The wind, there was a bit of a breeze to help it in the off the post. So yeah, no, I was delighted with that yesterday.
Yeah, and a goal for Lee. He needed that, didn't he? Really.
It's funny. I was having a conversation with somebody before, an actual conversation on Twitter, not just a keyboard rant. You'll know what it's like. And
I avoid those.
I know. But because there's this undertone that Elliot Lee's perhaps not doing as well as everybody thinks he should be, but actually he's got, I think it's 5 goals and 2 assists already this year, and I think he's the 13th top goal scorer in the league. And I'm just like, he's not playing against plumbers and farmers here. These are professional footballers now of decent quality, aren't they, in League One? So he's not going to do what he used to be able to do against Eastleigh or Dorking or whoever. So I think we need to give him a little bit of, and he's playing out of position at the moment, so we need to cut him a bit of slack. But I was, I thought most of them did really well yesterday, to be fair.
Well, I think I'm in agreement that I think Lee is not as effective as he has been. And like I said, I don't know if it's just a dip in form, or he's up against like the better players, or he's being found out a bit, and he becomes a target, don't you? Me and Tim talked about Ryan Barnett he's the hot player at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah.
Eventually, people start to target you and
Correct.
Work out strategies and tactics to stop you playing.
Yeah, I think he's a victim of 2 things. I think one is he's playing against better players, right? So we're seeing lots of our players who were red hot before, who would rack up goals or whatever easily, and now it's not so easy. So there's that, and also I don't think Wrexham necessarily play the best football that suits him. I'd love to see him as a free spirit going wherever he wanted on a football pitch, but Parky likes that rigid, disciplined formation, doesn't he? So so I think there's a couple of things going on, and it's not easy to dominate League One sides. So I think he'll be, at the end of the season, we'll look back and laugh and go, why were we giving him stick at that point? I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, he's done so much for us the last couple of years, and but you talk about the football's not great. It's never really great, but it's very effective. Another clean sheet as well. The goals are not coming. Are the goals a lack of goals a worry, Matt?
So it is for me. It is for me because statistics and history tells you can't keep winning 1-0, can you? Eventually, you're going to have that game where your defense lets you down, or a ref makes a bad call, or a player makes a mistake. So I think that's why we're going to need some more goals. And I think Mullin's on the cusp, because he's getting a bit of stick. I don't know if you've seen any of this. He's getting a little bit of stick. I think Mullin's on the cusp of if he's getting fully fit. So I'm not concerned there, but I still think in January that'll be the area that they're looking at. I think I'm adamant that that's where they'll go. They'll look for a forward to, and I don't know whether that's to replace Mullin or to replace Palmer or what, but I think they're gonna buy some goals, I think.
Yeah, well, Mullin had that chance, didn't he? That perhaps he should have put away. It's just not quite happening. And I think I didn't go on Tuesday either because I was working. But was it Lincoln? When he came on, he didn't look at his best at all. He looked to be struggling.
So I've spoke to somebody it was actually Wayne in the turf. So I spoke to Wayne, and Wayne said, because Mulls went recently, just before I went away, actually, to unveil it's a light that's like like a glass pane for Deadpool and Wolverine. And Mulls said to Wayne, listen, I've missed 2 pre-seasons now, the last 2 seasons, because obviously he had the rib injury, didn't he, in America? And he said, it was after weeks he still couldn't pull his socks up after this back surgery. He couldn't bend over to pull his socks up. So that's not minor back surgery, is it? If you can't, weeks afterwards, you can't bend over to pull your socks up. So I think we've underplayed this surgery, and obviously it's taken him time to get back. But I think he's close. Honestly, I think he's close now. So I think the goals are going to come. But so I don't think, look where we are. We're lucky, weren't we, with that defence as well. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. What's that thing? It's 7 clean sheets out of 9?
Oh, yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah, the best in League One, the best defence in League One. That will always, I think the way Parky's set up now, that's always going to be solid. But like you said, you do worry how often can you survive just winning 1-0 and a late winner against Barnsley, very late.
Yeah.
Obviously, the striker is going to be a priority. I've seen somewhere Ethan Wheatley, is it?
The Man United kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's hard. Obviously, transfer rumours are hard because you never know who set the rumour out there, what's the agenda, etc. Do you? But I saw that we were linked with him and Stockport were linked with him in the same article. You might have seen a different article, but basically us and Stockport were linked with him in the article that I saw, right?
Yeah.
So
and me probably seen the same one.
It might have been the same, but sometimes it's sometimes different
they
people.
They get regurgitated, don't they? I think someone starts it off, then it picks up somewhere on some website.
Changes, yeah. But I just wonder, when I saw it, I think they were on about £2 million for this kid. He's 18. And I stood back. I love I don't know whether you like transfer season or not. I love it. I do. I love trying to get to the bottom of it and understand where these rumours have come from and what's going on. And I looked at it, I went, Phil Parkinson historically does not go for 18-year-olds, does he? From what we've seen, inexperienced, Mo Fowl was probably the first one. And I'll be amazed if we're spending £2 million on an 18-year-old in January. I think he'll be wanting tried and tested EFL or League One or Championship probably. So that's what that was. That's my little take on it. But we're not in those rooms, are we, Carl? We don't know what's going on, do we? They keep it quite tight. They're quite good at that. But
he was from Stockport, so I would imagine you'd have to say he would be their first choice. If there's any truth in this, they've got their own resources. Yes. They're doing well themselves. They can be attractive for players as well, obviously. And he's from Stockport. You think he'd pick them first?
I think so. This is what I'll say. I think the rumours are they're going to lose this Louis Barry, isn't it? This is the rumour. Yeah. I've seen it again today. Apparently, it's Middlesbrough and it's escaping me now. Middlesbrough and somebody else want Louis Barry on loan. So the rumour is Villa are going to recall him and send him out there. So therefore, Stockport will have this gap then, won't they? Now, Stockport being where they are, they train at Carrington, which is obviously the very well-known training centre. They've got an agreement there to train there. And they pick up a lot of the Manchester kids, don't they? People who leave United and City and that type of stuff. They hoover them up because obviously they've got the perfect location for them, haven't they? So I don't know. I wonder whether we're being used in that deal just to get Stockport to pay a bit of more money or what. It's hard. It's really hard to know, isn't it? You can turn any transfer story into being for or against your club if you try hard enough, can't you? But that when I read it, I was a bit like, I don't see Parky spending £2 million on an 18-year-old when we need proven goals. In the summer, we were being linked with a guy, Smith from Sheffield Wednesday, who was 32-ish. And that just strikes me more as Phil Parkinson than... but I could be totally wrong, Carl. He could rock up tomorrow and then I look an idiot, don't I?
Well, I think that it's pretty well known now he's going to be backed. Sean Harvey has come out and said he's going to be backed. And you look at the league position, you talk to everybody, it's go for it. Don't settle for just being in the promotion hunt and being in League One next year. Don't just celebrate how far we've come. There's a bigger prize there and it's within touching distance. Go for it. Gamble, put everything you can behind another promotion. And I think I can see us finishing above Wycombe, just to digress a bit, but they're going to splash the cash. They're going to take big risks on players. Is he a type of player that could be useful because of his youth? And you'd have to think, I don't know anything about him really, but the quality is going to be there. We've got enough established players in their late 20s, 30s. You think, do we need someone like this from a different type of signing?
I get it, yeah. And I'm not saying I wouldn't necessarily do it or something. I'm just going off historically when we see Parky, he just prefers that experience, doesn't it? And you think about it. And I know I've spoken to people who've spoken to him. He's like, Mo Fowl is for next season. So, he's a very talented, quick lad up front would cause problems. But he's not played enough against men, and this is the problem. This is why some experienced managers don't do it, because they don't know how you're going to react when you start playing against men, not playing Premier League 2, which is against kids and stuff. It's it's a different game, isn't it? So listen, everybody can be an asset if you utilize them right, can't they? In theory, I just, as I said, I've got a feeling Parky's going to go for tried and tested, but could be totally wrong.
You would think, like Fal, you'd think it's perfect for him to do something, to make his name. Fletcher's just come back, isn't he?
Yeah.
Fletcher, Mullin, Palmer. It's hard to see how a team with those players is struggling for goals. Injuries are the problem in there. We're being affected so much by injuries. We'll talk about goalkeepers in a bit, but it's the injuries that are sort of disrupting us.
Yeah, we were unlucky with that Marriott one, weren't we? Because he'd found a bit of rhythm, hadn't he?
Exactly.
I hate to say it.
He took a while to get going, and it was starting to happen.
I saw his debut at Salford last year, and I'll never forget it. He came on as a sub. He had a chance to shoot at goal at one point. He was running directly at the goal, about 25 yards out, and I thought, thump this. Go on, thump it, because if this goes in, you're a hero, aren't you, scoring on your debut? It was a game we lost 3-1. It was miserable. And he passed the ball out to the left. I can't remember who was playing, whether it was McLean or what. And he kicked it out of touch. It was such a bad pass. And I thought, oh, God, what have we got here? We've got a Billy Waters again. But this season, he's been really sharp. He was sensational. It's terribly unlucky, to get that. But there is goals there. But do we play in open play? Do we do enough to create chances for him? That'd be my, are we reliant on those set pieces and getting long balls where you get players isolated? I think Parky could tweak this and open play up a little bit for some of our forwards. But I think because he's found this rigidity now, I think he's possibly afraid to do it because he doesn't want to unlock the back in order to open up front. It's about, what works best. But while he's winning at home and, either drawing or winning away, because we don't lose many away, do we? He's probably a bit like, well, we're not bad. We just need a little tweak somewhere.
Yeah, I thought he's going to change, is he? He's going to, he just needs to add to what he's doing. And that spark. And like I said, it has to be a striker. I don't really see where anyone else, well, apart from maybe goalkeepers now, but until then, it was only the striker, the midfield sport for choice.
So I'll tell you the one place in midfield that I think potentially might. It was a player we talked about. We ran Elliot Lee into the ground last year, if you remember. He started every game or something, something like that. And he looked tired towards the end, definitely. Yeah. And I just wonder whether if there is a second player going to come in. I agree. I think striker is the one place they'll definitely be trying. But I just wonder if he gets the chance to get another attacking midfielder, because I think when I watch Rathbone and Cannon, they're quite similar. And I think Dobson and Matty James are quite similar. They're good anchors. So I just wonder whether he might look for somebody a bit more attacking so he can rest Lee. So for people who don't think Lee's given us enough, or the work rate normally isn't the one, but I would just wonder if there's something he might do there. That would be the other thing. But I definitely think it'll be the strikers, like you say, which is exciting because we all like shiny new strikers, don't we?
Of course, yeah, because we all expect them to fire in 30 goals, and there we all get excited for goals. Goals means prizes, don't they? Goals mean prizes.
Yeah.
But Ollie Palmer,
yeah,
he's sticking with him. Are you happy with that? Do you think he deserves the support and the opportunity? His work rate is not in doubt. But again, not enough goals.
Yeah. So I'll break that into two if I can. There was a really interesting. I can't remember whether it was Nathan or Rich on the Ryan Red podcast. Give him a plug. Hopefully you don't mind that.
No.
They said they'd been speaking to somebody who was I can't remember whether they said it was an ex-Wrexham player, and they said, listen, working hard should be a prerequisite of your job, shouldn't it? That should be, that's the minimum you should do, isn't it? So for me, my criticism is that he doesn't get enough goals or assists. If you look statistically, we don't get either from him. And I see what you see, which is the people say, yeah, but he works hard. Yeah, but he two people have to mark him and stuff. I see all those comments. But for me, that would have been the one place I would have upgraded this year, if I'm honest. That was the one I thought we would see a serious upgrade there. And we've been trying to upgrade him since the National League, if you think. Do you remember the Luke Armstrong deal that fell through on transfer?
Yes.
That was basically another guy to play alongside Mullin. So we've been trying to find the player, but Parky clearly hasn't, for whatever reason, hasn't got it over the line, has he? So for me, he would be ideally, he would be a fourth. I'm not saying he would like this, but he'd be a fourth or fifth choice for me, if I'm honest. So he's exceeded my expectations this year. He's done better than I thought from his work rate and all that. But for me, strikers, you have to deliver goals or assists, and we don't see that. I know that's not a popular opinion. I know everybody loves him because of his character, his personality, how good he is with fans. I get all that, but if you want to be if you want to beat Birmingham this year, you've got to be ruthless, haven't you?
Yeah. So it's a big decision to make. Then you're saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, Parky's stuck with him. He's played him every game. There's games where I think, he might bring Mullin back or somebody else, and he doesn't. He keeps playing Palmer, so. And they've given him a new deal as well.
I was going to say that, yes, yeah. I'm surprised. I did think he'd be gone.
Yeah.
Because he's done with goals for a while, but his presence, he's seeing something that, like I said, he can utilise that is useful for what he wants to do. His physicality is, like I said, he disrupts players, he disrupts the defence, and he's seeing that's how he wants to use him.
Yeah.
But you just want that player to complement him.
Yes, yeah. I just wish we could. If he had 6 goals by now, I think we'd be thinking about We'd be thinking about him differently. But because we don't get that output there as well, I think that's what the top players give you, don't they? They give you the work rate and all the presence, everything you've talked about, but they'll give you the goals. And let's not forget. I don't know. I'm going to forget the games now. The game when I was in Egypt, Lincoln, he had a chance, which he fired over the. I don't know if you remember, he pulled one down and fired it over the bar. And then I think against Barnsley, he hit one over the bar as well. And I just thought, not to even hit the target. That's the difference. That's
the one in the first half. I think he had one in the first half.
The far end at the Kop, it was. So it might have been in the first half.
Yes, the first half, yeah.
And you just think that those are the differences that the best strikers will make a difference. So and they can cost you one day, can't they? That can be a difference between losing 1-0 and drawing 1-1, or drawing 0-0 and winning 1-0. That's what we need, is that little X factor.
And how was the Barnsley performance overall? Because apart from Exeter, where I think the early goal helped, I think we always seem to score more when we get that early goal.
Yeah, but Barnsley were so on paper you look at Barnsley where they are, and you might think, we should have perhaps done a bit better than what we did, because there've been no great shakes this season. But actually they matched us up really well first half. They had similar formation, and in fact the first 10-15 minutes they looked as if they were coming out for an early goal. But I'd spoken to somebody in the build-up to the Barnsley game, and he said that they had, I think the game before they played us, they had 30 shots at goal, but never really looked like scoring, which was surprising considering they've got obviously our old boy Keller Dunn up front from Mansfield. They got Stephen Humphreys, who they took from Wigan. Well, he was a free agent who Wrexham were linked with. But they didn't look like scoring. They're very wasteful of their chances. So, and that played out in the end, because they played some nice football. They looked lively. They worked hard, but never really never really threatened us.
I did hear it was evenly matched.
Yeah, definitely, definitely was. Yeah. And we should expect a bit more of that, shouldn't we? Especially post-Christmas, Carl. I think these teams will get going, won't they? Bolton will get going. Barnsley, Wigan.
Established clubs, aren't they? These are big names when you think about it, Mark. When you look at who we're playing with now, these are established football league clubs, many being the top end of the Championship in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And we're with them. That's what's so exciting. I can't believe how well we've done.
When we walked into, I think, was Bolton our second game of the season, I think. I went to that away game.
Yes, I was there, yeah.
And,
good value for the draw, I thought.
Oh, yeah. But again, it was early. So, and they've had a bit of trouble. But the point was, we sort of pulled up outside I still call it the Reebok. It's called the Tough Sheet or whatever it is now. But we pulled up outside. There was loads of fans. And I was like, it doesn't feel like 5 minutes ago I was going to Eastleigh away or wherever, and all of a sudden I'm here. What's it, 30-ish thousand? Same at Charlton. I had the same thing at Charlton, Birmingham. We had all the razzmatazz at Birmingham, didn't we? With Sky being there, Tom Brady walking in front of us, and Wrexham fans telling him to fuck off and all that. So on one hand, you just think this is great to be back, and we should just be acceptance of whatever this season brings. But then now we're in touching distance, and I just wonder if Rob's getting itchy, he's getting a bit itchy bum and going, well, if we just spend a little bit here, lads, we could be in the Championship.
I was reading some comments today, the usual nonsense about buying the league. You cannot just buy the league. It takes more than money.
Yeah, it does.
You can't just buy your way. I mean, there has to have some. The ingredients need to be more. There's more stuff that goes into being successful. How has this worked, Matt? This whole project, if you were to call it that, from the beginning of the takeover to now.
I get it. I think the clever thing and they, to be fair to Rob and Ryan, I think they emphasize this every time, is that they've had this attitude that basically we're the dumbest people in the room. So whatever room we're going to be in, we need the best people, right? So obviously you can argue about whether you like the characters or not. I don't want to mention any names, but there's one senior Wrexham person that doesn't necessarily bring some good chatter, isn't there? Yeah. But you can't argue that he's a vastly experienced executive, can you? He's running the EFL at one point, so almost best in class. Phil Parkinson would have been at one of, if not the best person that we could get. Depends on depends on your opinion of him. But in terms of experience, you couldn't have got any better, really, could you? If and all the coaches they've got, or that are now with them, they're excellent, aren't they? So it's all the infrastructure around them. They've just been really clever. So that's really the best place we could spend the money. He was having, quality coaches, quality physios, sports scientists. Obviously, the training ground will come. That's up for debate, isn't it? Quality executives, irrespective of what you think of them, vastly experienced. So I think that Rob and Ryan not trying to be too clever and just going, right, what's the best we can get around these players is what's driven it, in my opinion.
Exactly. But like I said, to hit the ground running in terms of, it took no time today. You'd expect there need to be some bedding in time, some time for this to grow. The results came very quickly, basically from their first full season to finish second, to challenge so well.
And don't forget, we nearly that first half season, we nearly, we're that Grimsby. If it weren't for Grimsby, we'd have had a really good shot, wouldn't we? So we nearly had success straight away. But obviously it wasn't to be. They felt a bit short. And if you look at that squad from then to what it became, it's night and day when you look at it, wasn't it? You know what I mean? The work that Les Reed does with recruitment, who obviously gets forgotten about because you hardly ever see him or hear from him, but he's still there. So I think, I think it's bonkers, really, isn't it? But
these are big names they've attracted.
Even
with their, obviously, like I said, experience, but you talk about other issues, but their credentials and experience is not in question.
No, look at, as we've just mentioned, Les Reed there for recruitment and succession planning. This guy, he was in charge of like the England, all the England national teams at one point. I mean, Wrexham used to be farting around in bargain bins looking for strikers. Never mind paying these fellas, God knows for what fees for their, for their time. It's bonkers. Think about it. It's bonkers, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, it all came together and worked so quickly. And these idiots, you bought the league. No, there's much more to it than that. It's
away fans, isn't it? It's away fans who all they see is the transfer fee that you've paid or the player that you brought on a free transfer, and then they assume that you've paid them, I don't know, £20,000 a week, where they don't understand the reality, or they're just too lazy to even consider it.
The work you put in, it's the people you hire. You've got to be smart enough to hire the right people, sign the right players, recruit the best people. It's much more to it than that. And as you mentioned, their recruitment, I've always said this, has been exceptional. Very few Duff players. Yeah. Billy Waters didn't really have a chance. That was always been a strange one for me. But
I want to defend Billy. Can I try and slightly defend the decision to buy him, though? Not necessarily defend the player, because what he produced on the pitch, rightly or wrongly, wasn't the best. But if you remember, we brought him in the March of the season we got promoted. And the issue was they wanted to cover Paul Mullin because apparently he had a knee injury, I think it was. And they were afraid that if he went down, we wouldn't have enough strikers for that last 4 to 6 weeks, whatever it was. So that's why they brought Billy Waters in. So if you imagine if Mullin would have gone down in that season, that we got promoted, we'd have all been looking, going, well, why? If you knew that he might go down, why didn't you bring somebody in? So they did. As it turned out, I get all the arguments about what the quality of the player, but it was the right idea to cover Moles just in case. That's my point.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Something that I didn't really consider, because I remember that rumor about his knee. I remember that.
He was having injections, and there was all sorts of rumors.
I can defend the player because I don't think he was given a proper chance.
Yeah.
Because in the end he wasn't needed, was he?
No, and he was getting bit. He was getting bit parts. He lost his form, and when he did then play in the cups, to be fair, he missed a lot of chances eventually. But he'd had no run of game. Marriott needed a run of games to get going, didn't he? So Billy Waters was the same. I remember Billy Waters had scored goals in League Two, I think, before he came to the National League. So he was obviously at a quality, and if that was probably the best they could do last minute, just in case. So that's that. So I say I'm not necessarily defending the player, but the move to bring a player in, I think was the right thing to do.
I see your point there, Matt. And yeah, like I said, it just in the end it just didn't quite work out, and he wasn't needed, was he really?
Yeah.
Goalkeepers, we've got a problem now with goalkeepers all of a sudden. I know they've signed Brad Foster, is it?
Yes, yeah.
And I read Parky wants someone else as well.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Yesterday, I don't know if you saw the interview post-match. He said something along the lines of they think Burton's going to be possibly out for the season.
Yeah.
That thigh, I think it's a thigh tear. I've never had one, so I don't know how bad they are. But that's months, isn't it? So that's unlucky because he's been excellent as well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know if you think that, but I think he's been really good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
He's been really good in Arthur's absence. So, and obviously they brought this Brad Foster in supposedly on a 28-day rolling agreement to cover that. And I think once it's confirmed the status of Burton, I think that'll make the decision for him. Then, if they think he might come back, maybe they'll persist with Mark Howard. If Arthur's perhaps coming back fairly soon, because obviously that could take a bit more time, that wrist. But if they think Callum's done for the season and Arthur's not coming back as soon as we think, I just wonder whether in January that might be the first thing we see through the door is another body on a 1 or a 2 year deal somehow or maybe bring Luke McNicholas back, who's been at Rochdale. So we might see that might be the first move we make these goalkeepers.
I think you could be right there. I'll say So I'll revise my opinion on transfers: goalkeeper and a striker.
You're not for the midfielder. No, you don't think we might.
I think there's plenty. Just find the right combination, and I think there's enough there. Like Rathbone, these last month or so, I've watched him. He's really growing now, and he gets about, and he's really been impressive.
Yeah, I agree. I thought yesterday again he was really good.
Dobson started well. I think he's going off, but that happens. But I think the quality's there. There's enough there. There's enough there. Get the right combination.
All right, it's this type of player for me. Elliot Lee is really an attacking midfielder, and I would like us to have another attacking. But this is where football. See, there's more than one way to win a football match, and we can all have different opinions. So this is what makes that makes the sport interesting and unique in it. That you might like somebody and somebody else doesn't like them. I think that's the nuance of it.
This go back to Foster. I believe he'd been at the club already. He was training with them, and he was obviously helping them out for the last month or so.
Yeah, so I didn't know that at all, and I'd not heard anybody else say that. But the statement they put out said he'd been at the club training with. It listed all the goalkeepers apart from Arthur. So I wonder that when Arthur went down, did they just bring him in then just in case they think, if we get another injury, we're going to need him? He was a free agent, so he's been there in the background. And then as it's happened, obviously we have needed him. Obviously, having trialists at a club is quite common. You will often have that through the season. The problem is there's two things. One, I wouldn't have recognised him if I saw him. I don't know if you would have.
No.
If I was at the ground and he was with all the players, I wouldn't have known him. I wouldn't have had a clue. So I think that's the thing. He's walked past people probably, and they've not thought anything of it. So that's why we didn't know, I think, until they put that statement out yesterday.
But Mark Howard getting another chance, you think, which I think he deserves. I'm a big fan of him. I think he's a great goalkeeper, and his just attitude has been. Yeah. I think he was hard done by from that Stockport game. That's when he was dropped, wasn't he? For the following game.
Yeah.
But his attitude and his commitment has been excellent.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fans chomp, hasn't he? I think he's the ultimate club pro, is how I see him. He doesn't. We don't know who argues with Phil Parkinson and who doesn't, etc. But on the face of it, he doesn't seem to have kicked up a fuss. He's accepted when Parky's gone, because Parky's replaced him. Remember, multiple times he replaced him from the National League as soon as Rob Layton was fit. He put him back. Then when Rob went down, eventually, obviously Arthur come in. Arthur went straight in. So he's replaced him multiple times. But he just seems happy because of his age, I think, and where he is in life. He just seems happy to go, well, whatever you need, I'll fit in, doesn't he?
But he's worked with Parky before, hasn't he? So they've got a good relationship. Like you said, he's experienced. He understands he's coming to the end. He's happy to contribute and help out. And he's involved in coaching, isn't he? I think maybe in an unofficial role. He's there to help out people. He knows his place and he's happy to contribute, I think.
Yeah, this is why I think it's just that from he must be a manager. If he's not banging at Parky's door, right, which I don't think he is, if he's not banging at his door going, why are you not playing me? Why are you playing this Okonkwo kid, right? I just think he must be a manager's dream, because that's what you want in it. Somebody that just understands that's your role at the moment. Keep training hard and you never know what's going to happen. And he must be, if you train with Arthur or Callum Burton, you must understand that these guys are younger, fitter, and you must look at them and go, well, I used to be like that, jokingly, mustn't you? So I think that's why he's the ultimate club pro, I think.
Are Birmingham still the team to beat? Are they gonna come out on top eventually? That top four now is starting to just pull away a bit. I think Wrexham 7 points ahead of Stockport. Having played the same games. It's still early, but it's starting to take a bit of shape.
So, I can't remember whether we were on camera or off camera when you said you thought Wycombe might fall away. Was that earlier? I agree with that.
My money on us to finish above Wycombe, wherever that may be. I think we'll overtake them in the end. Yeah,
I don't think Wycombe are going to win this league. No disrespect to them. I just there are some bigger teams, aren't they? Logic tells you that Birmingham are going to win it, doesn't it? The thing that I would say. The thing that I would say is this: they've got a very inexperienced manager. He was a coach at Tottenham, one of these really highly regarded, and they've plucked him out to give him his first manager's job. If they get into a run of it not going well, has he got the experience to either get them out of that or get them out of that quick enough that they don't fall away too much? Whereas an experienced manager will understand how to get you out of trouble quicker. I always think, I just wonder whether that might cost them at the end, or whether they might not necessarily go up automatic. My head says they'll be gone by February or March because of the money that they've spent. But we know that isn't the whole answer, don't we? So for logic tells me they are, but don't be surprised if there's a crack in the armory and the inexperienced manager rears its head.
But I think they've got a few games in hand, like a few clubs have in the top 10. Yeah. That's always my concern. But I do think we're starting to just pull away. Keep up this consistency, and we'll start to pull away where we're going to be guaranteed in the top four.
But remember, Carl, don't they always say I'd rather have points in the bank than games in hand?
Of course, yeah. That's what matters.
Yeah, if they get a bad injury or some suspensions or they get a bad run of form, those 3 games mean nothing then, do they?
Of course. But I think he'll be Birmingham and Wrexham, top 2. Wrexham are going to finish in the top 2.
Yeah, I think. Right, yeah. So, I mean, we've done much better. Well, I did predictions on the podcast for the top 6 pre-season, and I thought I was trying to be realistic and respectful to these seasoned teams in League One, and I thought we would just miss out on the playoffs. And I think I put Huddersfield in second. So But now, having played everybody and looked at them, I've gone, we're better against them than what I was expecting. I thought early on we would struggle. But we've been better against them than I thought. So, if I could revise my prediction, I would put us in the playoffs. But I've got to stick with what I said now. You can't change your mind.
I think we all had the same attitude. It's just good to be in League One. Just stay there, there, and that's fantastic. Then you see how it's progressed and unfolded. You're thinking, there's more here. We can go for this.
Yeah.
I think we'll all be gutted. We'll all be gutted if we miss out, I think, because this might be the chance.
Yeah, well, and that's where you talk about January now and go, well, if one or two players could be the difference here, couldn't it? Between comfortably being in the playoffs or scrambling around for them come the end of the season. But I'm delighted with how much better we've done than what I thought we would do.
And not out of place at all. Not out of place. Again, And I think we all talk about wanting stability. Regain our place at an established Football League club, make sure we can get self-reliance and make sure we balance the money and everything is it's just ticking over nicely. But there's a chance there for so much more.
You get me excited now, Carl. Stop.
It's there for the taking. And like I said, we all want stability. You think, well, just becomes a top 10.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
And be happy with that for now. Manage the money well, become self-reliant. But like I said, there's a chance to go for it. Does that come at a cost? Does going for it come at a cost?
Probably financially, it probably does.
Yeah.
If you think about
wise, though.
Say that again.
Reputation-wise, do you then start looking who to blame? Do you then change things up again? And
if it doesn't work,
does it unravel then?
No, I think if you think about it, there's if you were 15th and went, we're going to go for it this year, we're going to spend 20 million, that would possibly be stupid, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
but we're not. Look at where we are. There's logic in going, let's stretch ourselves a little bit. I mean, we don't know we don't know what the transfer kitty is and what they're thinking, do we? But there's logic in it. Would you agree? There's logic in going for it now.
Definitely,
where we are now, there's logic to go right. Let's go and break the transfer record again. Or I tell you what was surprised me, and I don't know whether you saw my tweet. What do you think? Think about Phil Parkinson. I'm sorry to waste your time here, but this might be an interesting thing. Phil Parkinson has managed some big clubs, hasn't he? Right? What do you think his record transfer fee paid is as a manager for a player? So he's managed Bolton, Sunderland, Bradford. Colchester's a small club, so not necessarily there. But you get the idea, don't you? What do you think?
You're probably looking at someone like. You've probably set this up now. So I'm saying 2 million. You'd think more, but it's going to be less than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Mo Fowl.
Yeah, really.
Which is rumored to be what 500,000 to 600,000, isn't it? That's the rumor.
That surprised me.
So if the player doesn't matter, because you can argue about whether he's a good player or not. That's irrelevant. That £500,000 to £600,000, whatever that magic number is, because we don't really know, do we? We don't see the contracts
as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So I think he's cleared $1 million somewhere for somebody.
Yeah.
In this day and age.
Yeah.
And I'm worth $1 million.
Yeah, at least
he hasn't come in for me yet. So I'm available.
Oh, it's just a matter of time. Wait till this goes out next week. He'll be on the phone. He'll be like, "Come on, Carl, you could be like Rog, Men in Blazers. You could be like the Welsh version of Men in Blazers, Carl."
Yes, come on. I can fire us. I can fire us to the championship.
Yeah, but that surprised me. So I just wonder whether Parky I wonder whether he prefers just less pressure on a player. Let's just or whether is somebody going to have to nudge him and go, we've got to spend 2 million here, Phil, and he's like, oh God, these dynamics that are going on that perhaps we don't appreciate as well,
It's just smart business. Smart business, and again, if you like someone that fits and you can get them for a reasonable price, it's not about just buying anybody for the sake of it.
Correct,
and that's why who you need.
Yeah, and that's why it's not, like you said before, it's not just about spending the money, is it? Yeah. And we know Parky likes to understand the character, doesn't he? The person, the no dickheads test as we talk about, don't we? So it's not just about that, and I just found that a staggering stat when I found it out.
Agree, yeah, you would think the clubs he's been at would have paid in this day and age the money that's being paid for players that don't really deserve it. You know, it's expect a lot more than that.
It's just timing. I think he's been at those clubs when they've been at a low ebb.
Yeah,
it must have been. You know.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. They didn't quite have the resources to do it, or the finances. Things were tight.
Yeah.
Before we go, thank you for this, Matt. The cop.
Yeah.
Any news? Do you think we can get this going?
Well, I think it's obviously I read what you read, and I think they've got to now, haven't they? Because a large part of the funding is geared towards. Is it the UEFA under? I'm going to get this mixed up. Is it the under 19 world champion Euro championship or something?
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So I think it's got to be built by that, which is that 2026 or something like that. So they're gonna. It's everything that I've read, Carl, says that the temp cop goes in the summer and they break ground.
It should have happened by now.
Well, it should have. That was supposed to happen last summer, wasn't it?
Are the old plans gone now? Are we back to a fresh start?
Yeah. So I'm told that it's a different architect now. Yeah. They didn't like the rumor, and this is all rumor. So I wasn't in the rooms. You weren't in the rooms. I'm guessing you weren't in the rooms. No. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking me.
I creep about now and again. It depends.
But the rumor is that the architects that they used originally for the COP were kind of not negative, but weren't dreaming big enough. Whereas these new architects are dreaming a bit bigger of what you can do on the footprint that we've got. And I think they like that positivity that they're going, well, hang on, you can do this, you can do that. And I think they like that. So I've heard all sorts about filling corners in and all sorts.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. Apparently, they're purchase the flats back, the student flats.
Yeah, there was that rumour. I don't know how true that is. There was rumours that some of those students had letters to say they can't renew and all sorts. But I think we will see the COP. I think we'll have to see it because otherwise a big chunk of funding disappears, and that they won't want that, will they? So I think they'll be breaking ground in the summer, Carl.
And it's the only thing missing, really, isn't it? I know we managed to get the temporary stand going. Do you think after all the
training ground?
Yes, yeah.
I would have done that. I know nothing about football, but I would have done that first, the training ground. But I don't know how easy that was to do, and I don't know where. Apparently, they have got a location. I'm told they have got a location for that. Wherever that is, I don't know where it is. But that's what
we discussed it. When we were at the Fetus in Devotion event.
Yeah,
it was brought up then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can't. I'm the worst person to ask. I've got a terrible memory. I was there, as you know, but I can't remember exactly what he said because they toe a line for sometimes, don't they? They go, we haven't got a location yet because they're not ready to tell us for whatever reason, right? But I'm told that they have got a location. They've pinned it down.
You're right. You need that. Like I say, it goes back to the infrastructure. It goes back to the foundations of a club. You need your own facilities. You need better facilities, state of the art. You need, the foundations of what helps you progress.
Yeah, I just, you look at the players coming in. They want good training facilities. And like we're using the FAW ones at Colliers Park, but I don't think we can use, my understanding was we can't use all of those facilities. So like they go back to the ground and do bits there rather than doing everything there. So I just think if you can control all that from a player's point of view and recruiting, that looks much better to a player, doesn't it? Than, we train. Some weeks we're at Kevin Druids at the Rock, and then some weeks we're at the ground, and then some weeks we were at Carden Park, and then some weeks we were at Colliers. Yeah. I think so. I understand your sentiment, but I would just stick. I would like but listen, we're still living in dreamland, aren't we?
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Maybe they're probably waiting to generate more revenue from increased capacity, which obviously they're doing well now, clearing 13,000 usually. I know there's been some gaps recently, probably because of the weather, some rumours about ticket prices, but they probably wanted the increased revenue first or whatever.
Listen, you can't, this stuff has to be paid for, right? Yeah. And we can't be expecting, for instance, Rob and Ryan just to go, here's another I don't know. What's the training ground costs? I mean, you're talking, they're on about having a dozen pitches, aren't they, at this? That's 20 million quid. Well, that doesn't grow on trees, does it? So you have to generate it through good performances, winning, and then the sponsorship comes, and then player trading comes, and all that to generate some money, doesn't it?
Of course. And, you can attract investors all you like, but again, it has to be self-reliant.
But I've just sorry to interrupt. With investors comes expectation. Remember,
course, yeah.
Investors aren't going to throw millions of pounds and then just go, "I'll just be happy in 10 years. We'll see what happens." They'll be questioning as well, won't they? Going, well, what's going on? They can't now because we keep winning. But if we have spells if we have a long-term period where we're not winning, they'll be like, well, what's going on? So we just got to remember that you don't want lots and lots of investors, because then the expectation gets messier and it gets bigger.
Which that is my worry going forward. They've done everything right so far, but eventually when you start bringing more people in who are more business-minded, I know Ryan Reynolds certainly is business-minded.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
People are now, these are billionaire venture capitalists. They want to generate sales. They want to generate a value for their investment.
Yeah, and sport isn't like that. Football isn't. It's not so linear, is it? It's hard to predict. Yeah. There's too many moving parts to a football game for you to guarantee that you're going to win every week, and that then becomes a problem, doesn't it? But hopefully they seem. I mean, they've never told us this as such, but I get the impression from the few words we do get, they seem to have a good relationship with the Allen family initially. I know Wayne in the Turfs had them there, and apparently they're great people. So hopefully they've got some understanding in how this works. It's not so linear and predictable like you can be in business. You can almost predict some of that stuff, can't you?
Yeah. Of course. And I'm going to predict Wrexham get promoted to the Championship.
In second place?
Well, no, winners. I'm going to go for it. No, they'll be in the top two.
I think
they'll be in the top two. I've got a feeling, because they won't win the playoffs. They'll be in the top two.
All right. I'll take it. I will just say this though. I don't just as a bit of boring on money and stuff in football finances, but the average loss in the Championship is £500,000 a week. That's the average that a club loses. That's like frightening, because everyone chases the dream, don't they?
Yeah.
They dream big, they buy big players, they overspend on wages and what have you. And it always makes me wince when I think back to our history of where we've been. It's like, oh God, it's a minefield, that Championship. But obviously we want to do it. Obviously we do.
It goes back to what I was saying. Are you happy just to be safe in the Football League, ticking along, having 15 years non-league football, almost going bust, and even that? I'd say we're secure, we're safe, we're here to stay, and we're having a good time.
Yeah, I don't think Rob McElhenney thinks like that, and I think that's ultimately. I'm not saying that Ryan does, but I think Rob is more of the driving force, isn't he, behind the football element?
He's a bigger fan, you would say.
I don't think he's happy. But it does as an old school fan of football who's seen Wrexham on its knees. It just makes me nervous. Not that I don't want to do it; it just makes me nervous.
But the thought of losing money the way some clubs are, it's not the best way to carry on, is it? It's not, as a sport, it shows you how, like you said, how precarious it is, and what will be the dangers of trying to achieve something that's impossible most of the time.
Everybody talks about sustainability in football. Yeah, you see that, you hear that. It's that we hear that in the world now, don't we? Yeah. Whatever business it is, it has to be sustainable. You're as sustainable as your owner is. That's the reality. If your owner can afford to lose money, left, right, and centre, then you can be sustainable, can't you? And that's the concern, is if you haven't got a mega rich owner that can bail you out in some way, shape, or form, then everything you do is a risk, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. And hopefully we can get the certainly Wrexham sustainable and self-reliant, and hopefully now with the success and the sponsors that are coming, hopefully this sponsorship money is of value. I'm not sure if it was at first.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure if we got much from TikTok, because people thought, you hear the rumours, we're getting millions from TikTok, millions from this. I don't think that was the case, was it?
No. Well, again, we don't get, especially now, we don't get to see the details of the accounts, do we? We just get the headlines that the club want you to see or hear. But I agree. I don't think it was still big relative to National League.
Yes.
But it wasn't like Championship or Premier League money, was it?
No. But that will soon be coming. That'll soon be coming, Matt. Trust me.
Is Welsh Beast on the front of the shirt? United Airlines out the window in the summer.
Yes,
Welsh Beast Show on the front of the shirt.
You see what's happening. Yeah, I'll be sponsoring. Then you'll be able to bloody buy some players, won't you?
Hey, listen, these podcasters, they make mega money, apparently, if you do it right. Make hundreds of millions. Joe Rogan makes hundreds of millions. You could be the next Joe Rogan.
Yeah, I don't know about that. God.
I think you can.
Anyway, thank you, Matt. Thank you for this.
You're very welcome.
Cheers, mate, and we'll do it again. And we're flying at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, up the town.
It's a fun ride. Cheers, mate. I'll see you again. Thanks a lot.
No problem. Thank you.